Phenomenal morning, guys. Listen, I know it's not Saturday, but I couldn't wait. Right. So I know it's not Saturday. Listen, guys, I couldn't wait. I had to jump in here real quick and let you guys know what's going on because there's a lot of work taking place. There's a lot of work taking. Bobby Jackson, Bobby Digital. How are you feeling this morning, brother? What's going on, man?
Oh man, it's a phenomenal morning. 10:25 Eastern Standard. And from the moment that I got up, I've been hitting the ground running. And that's always good. Like when you know what that day looks like and that day starts before the sun. So it's been a phenomenal morning over here on the east side, East Coast.
Good stuff. Good stuff. They say the West is the best. I don't know, but the East is a beast. I don't know. The East is a beast, guys. Listen, I hope you're paying attention. Let me tell you who this is for, right? This is for leaders. This is for leaders. This is for CEOs. This is for also for PBOs. So for those of you who don't know what PBO means, that means professional business owner, right? And the reason why we're hitting you now is because I want the people who can't check in right now to feel something a little bit later, right? I'll be honest. When I was working a day shift in a 9 to 5, or even when I was consulting, but somebody else had my airplane ticket, right? When I wasn't paying for my own stuff and someone else had my whereabouts figured out for me, when I turned around and saw little opportunities that I was not able to take advantage of because I was on the job or in the air or in a different situation where I was predisposed, it made me feel some kind of way. Right? It made me feel some kind of way. So hashtag replay, if you're watching this later, right? Hashtag replay squad, right? It's okay. I want you to think. I want you to think about your freedom. And I want you to think about building your legacy and building your dream as opposed to someone else's. So that's the first note. I want you to think of, am I building my dream, or am I living my reality while building someone else's dream? Reality check. Reality check in effect right now. I want you to think, where am I at? Where am I at in my business? Guys, listen, this is the first, matter of fact, this is the second week of the first quarter. I mean, the fourth quarter. This is it. Bottom of the ninth, right? If this was the last quarter in your business and you had one more opportunity, what would that be? Like, what would you do? What would you do if this was the last quarter in your business? Because I guarantee you, this is the last quarter of 2023. Like, it's over. It's over. And you probably remember coming into the new year with us and saying, first quarter 2023, here we go. Had a whole bunch of goals, had a whole bunch of things that you were going to complete by the end of the year. Well, here we are, bottom of the ninth. Bases are loaded. What have you done? What have you completed? Bobby, what kind of thoughts does that give you? What kind of emotions does that stir up for you right now?
Oh my goodness. When I think back over my business career, the fourth quarter has been where I've always made the most money. It's always where I make the most money. And it's interesting because I think for certain business owners and certain type of people, you need a certain level of pressure to get you to perform, right? And every time I hear fourth quarter, every time I think about building someone else's dream versus building my own, I think back to the military where you would have, say, 6 months to do a particular test. So if we were doing the PFT, you have from January to June. And a lot of people will wait till, say, the fourth quarter, June, to start preparing for that PFT and getting ready for that PFT. And you would often see the guys that started out with a lot of steam and lost it, they didn't do too well on their PFT. Those guys that wait to the last minute and kind of just gut it out normally do okay. But the people that do the best are those guys that don't really come into things super gung ho, like, it's like it's gonna be a miracle. They come into it more like, this is about to suck. I'm about to put myself through this 6 or 4 month regiment. Like they already know what's about to go down, and then they just hit it and hit it and hit it and hit it and hit it, and then they show up 2 months prior to the end of the season for the PFT, and they do better than everyone else. So what this makes me think about is just, if you had to choose, like if you were to look at yourself and say, you know what, I wasn't the guy that started from the beginning of the year. I didn't keep the steam, or you know what, I came out the gates blazing, but I lost the flame. And
Mm.
if you have to choose between rolling over and saying, "Oh, I'll get him next year," and getting into a fourth quarter regimen that's going to enable you to produce results, I would say take that fourth quarter regimen, get on the inside, do what needs to get done, and get those results. So that's what it comes to me. It was very nostalgic for me.
Very good. Very good. It should be, right? It should be. And what I want everybody to think about who share that sentiment, because a lot of people do. A lot of people say fourth quarter is the best quarter. What if your best quarter was your worst quarter? What if your best quarter was your worst quarter? What if your ceiling became your floor? What if you attacked it like it was the bottom of the ninth inning every single moment of every single day, of every single week, of every single month? What would your business look like? What would your business look like? You would probably be able to add a zero to you, be able to add a zero to your positioning in the marketplace. If you're in a regular job, you'd probably be able to add a zero to your revenue, to your salary, right? If you're a 5-figure salary, you probably could become a 6-figure salary earner. If you're a 6-figure salary earner, you can definitely become a 7-figure salary earner. They do exist. They do exist. You can make $1 million in your cubicle. I guarantee you. This can happen. The question is, what kind of value do you provide as an employer, as a CEO, as a PBO, professional business owner? You can add a zero to your employees. You can add a zero to your market positioning. You can add a zero to your profitability. So let me say it this way: VCP, visibility, credibility, and profitability. You can add a zero to all of those. If you attack every single moment like it's the last moment, like it's the last dash, the cash dash, like let's go. What's in the vault? What's in the vault? And whose fault is it that it's not on the floor being displayed at all times? What's your mindset? Guys, I'm here to remind you. I'm the great reminder. People get mad when they see me coming, Bobby. I'm not going to lie. They say, Sean going to be loud. Oh my God, turn it down. Soon as they see my face, they hear that music, they're like, oh, turn it down. Sean about to be loud. He about to turn up. Right? Don't turn me down when I try to turn you up. I'm trying to help you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm trying to help you, and you don't want to hear me because I want you to be free.
Ooh.
Right? You don't want to hear me because I'm like that person. Like, come on, let's go. Like, I'm knocking on the window at 4:00 in the morning. Like, shh, don't wake anybody up. Let's go. Grab all your stuff. We're out of here.
Right.
We're headed up north. We're going to work. Like people, like we could make a ton. Like you could literally add a zero to your revenue no matter what it was. No matter what it was, there's no comparison to what it can be. I stayed this way. Guys, I stayed this way. I promise you. I don't have to get excited. I have to kind of try to tone it down because people come around me and it's like they get electrified. I used to shake hands and static shock people. I'm one of those people. Just shake hands and it's like, bow. You know, and they're like, God, Sean, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. There's not a carpet in sight. It's just my energy, guys. Why? Because I want you to be successful. I want you to be successful. I want you to have what you want to have, do what you want to do, be where you want to be, and spend your time with who you want to spend your time with. Right? So if I'm a little bit passionate because I want you to be successful, then I'll be that. Right? I'll be that. I'm guilty. Color me guilty, right? I'm guilty. I want you to be successful. My goal is to change the face of leadership. I want you to look in the mirror and get comfortable with your face because I want your face to become a household brand. That's what I'm looking for. That's why we're here. That's why we're going live like it's Saturday on a Tuesday. Listen. I am convicted and I am not conflicted. I am afflicted with success. And I want you to catch it now because it's infectious and anybody watching this can get it.
My goodness. I'm convicted, not conflicted. That punched me in my chest.
Good.
You know, punched me in my chest because it's like you can't mess it up when you're convicted. I feel like when we get conflicted or we have all these different ideas in our heads about what we should do, how we should do it, why we're doing it in the first place, we can be very conflicted. And when we get like that, it reduces the concentration of effort, it reduces the concentration of energy, and it just gets us all over the place. So that just punched me in the chest, because I was able to ask myself, hey, are you convicted or conflicted? So that was just a pin moment for those of y'all that have those. And I know everybody watching this does, right? But one thing that I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about was the 6-figure dilemma. And I think it goes for 7-figure people as well. But I'll speak for the space that I'm most familiar with. The 6-figure dilemma is one that I've been studying, and it's one where if you are a 6-figure business owner, professional business owner, and you are in that sweet spot, say $500,000, 800,000, or even early 6 figures, like you're hitting your 150s, but you're there. The interesting thing is that we have less discretionary funds in many cases than the employee making 10 times less than us. And it's such an interesting dilemma because we are extremely invested. And a lot of individuals that are employees just don't understand. They're like, how can you not do this? How can you can't go there? I'm taking X amount of trip. I drive this. And at the end of the day, you don't, if you're a professional, you don't judge. You don't say, oh, well, you spending your money this way. You just say, good. That's great. Good for you. And you get back to what you're doing.
That's
And
right.
I think the dilemma is interesting because sometimes if we don't find ourselves in the right community with the right group of people, that dilemma can start to manifest itself into doubt. And that's the last thing you want. And I'm speaking from personal experience. Like, I remember getting out of the community and having to fight my way back in. I can't make it out here. It's not, they like, oh my gosh, what do they say? A lion alone is prey.
That's right.
A lion without a pride is prey. So the thing I want to leave you guys with here with that 6-figure dilemma is, if you're not in the right community, being coached by the right people, being influenced by the right energy, you can find yourself doubting the investments that you're making, because anyone that's at 6 figures knows the truth that I'm about to say is real. The investments that you make today often don't return tomorrow. It takes a little while. Like, that thing's not happening tomorrow. It's probably going to happen in about three months is good. 6 months is not bad. A year is more likely for a lot of people. Like, it takes about a year to undo some stuff and get some other things put back into play. So that's what I wanted to leave you guys with, is as those professional business owners, do not be discouraged, especially if you're surrounded by people that don't understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how you can have all of this income, but such little discretionary funding. It's because your discretion is business. There is no popping bottles. There is no partying. My discretionary funds is business, period. And I wanted to share that because I think it's very important for us that are at that level on our way to 7.
That's right. That's right. And listen, those of us at 7 on our way to 8, and those of us at 8 on our way to 9, it's the same invested discretion. So that's what I just wrote down. Invested discretion. We have discretion. Like, we can buy the bar. But who does that on this side? Right? Who does that? Nobody does that on this side, or they don't last long because it's not sustainable. So what is attainable will not be sustainable if your discipline is not remainable. You have to retain your discipline. Guys, we choose not to do the things that we could do so we can do the things that people will never be able to do.
Ooh, yeah.
You understand? Like, take the yacht out. I don't need a night out. I had nights out when I was a kid. That's kid stuff. We're not trying to do kid stuff anymore because that's small stuff. Like, that's not an accomplishment. That's a dilemma. That's a dilemma. Realistically, that's a problem. That's an obstacle. I'm looking for opportunities. So I got to wake up 5 o'clock, not come in 5 o'clock. You You understand? I wake up at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't come in at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. It's called discipline. Why? Because we have different goals. Your goal may be to get a room in a hotel in Dubai. My goal is to own the hotel in Dubai. We cut from two different cloths. We got two different goals. We got two different machinations going on in our mind. When we wake up, we got two different ideas. Your goal is what am I going to eat this morning? My goal is, where's the next million coming from? Where's it going to come from? What idea? What gift? What gift do I have that's going to take wings and take flight tonight? Where's it coming from? I'm hunting. I'm looking for it. And when I say I'm hunting, don't think that I'm running up in people's situations. No. A lot of times it's what's under the surface instead of what's seen. So my hunting takes place here. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to go in the gym and I'm going to isolate from everything, every outside interference. I don't turn on machines. I don't turn on phones. I am left alone completely. It's in solitude that the multitude is developed. It's an isolation that the multitude is developed. What you see in sight, like what you see in daylight, is from what takes place during the twilight. Ooh. So just to give you a glimpse real quick before we take a break, just to give you a glimpse, we just put this book out a couple months ago. This book just came out a couple of months ago. However, the next book is coming out October 31st. That's the anthology, the first anthology from the Leadership Leverage, of which Bobby Digital is a phenomenal part. Congratulations, right? Yeah. And which is guaranteed to go to #1 bestseller, right? Congratulations again. Guaranteed, right? We tell the future. I don't tell the past. I don't hope for things to happen. We pray, but then we work. We pray, but then we work. And we pray from a state of gratitude for what has already taken place. So I'm not praying from a state of hope and desperation. When I pray for things that have not come to pass yet out of gratitude because I know that they already have. We'll be right back. Let's grow. It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just a very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle. The reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaway just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
Business is like a game of chess. It's not checkers. If you don't know how to lead with a personal brand, then you're losing the battle.
Everything about Sean's talk was fantastic. I mean, I got so much from it.
So he was really bringing fire and passion and just love and spirit to let everybody else know how do you become a leader amongst the leaders.
You hold the key in your hand. There is more power in this phone than there was that took the first man to the moon.
his energy, his dynamic information, gave a really great presentation.
I didn't ask for any money. I didn't have an offer. I had a heart to help people and meet them where they were at and find their need and fulfill it.
Sean is the bomb.
All right. All right. I hope the energy is up. Bobby, talk to the people, man.
Man, there was so many great things that I wrote down there. One of them being, what gift is producing the next million? Oh, man. I thought that was very powerful and empowering, because I think I heard Steve Harvey say this. He was like, the fastest way to make $1 million was, he gave like a little lineage. I'm going to do my best to remember how he did. He was like, first find a way to make 10K. Then he said, find a way to make 100,000. And then find a way to do that 10 times. And you got $1 million. And he was like, those are your 3 steps. And I think that's a lot easier to swallow for some people. So if you say, all right, what gift can get you to say 10K? For me, that gift was financial and root cause analysis. So understanding finance and root cause analysis was enough to get me to 10K a month. I was able to use that. So then it was like, okay, what can get you to 100K a year? And then it was like leadership. Leadership is a gift. So I started leveraging that because that's what I needed to manage a team, so on and so forth. So on this way to 7 figures, I think that's a better way to think about it. Okay, you're leveraging your education, expertise, and experience. You're also leveraging your intrinsic value as a leader. What else can you leverage to get to, say, 7 figures? And that's why I have a coach to tell me, hey, this is an untapped area. Or, hey, you've got this. I've seen this show up a few times. How about us try cultivating that? So I think that that's pretty important. And then another piece that I wrote down is, we pray with gratitude because we know it's already done. Recently, that's something that I've been leaning into even more, because it truly is a remarkable state of mind when you execute from a point of gratitude. And I think a lot of people know what we mean by the word manifestation. I know there's a lot of things out there, such as laws of attraction and prayer. So it's a lot of information around the subject, but I think that just understanding it and then actually working the principles and seeing the results of it are kind of 2 completely different things. So one thing that I've noticed about the actual praying from a state of gratitude, it's really a state. It's a state of being, a state of mind, a state of execution. And I thought that that was very important because I can feel the difference. I can feel when I'm operating out of lack. And I think all of us at some point have, especially when you're building a business and you're straight out of, say you took the leap, you walked away from your day job. Like, that's a big leap of faith that we all have to take at some point, and when we take that leap of faith, when we start seeing the savings account dwindle, there may be a bit of anxiety. When the savings account is gone, then there may be a bit of worry that sets in, but you might be like, okay, I'm making sales. But then when you have a lull, it's like the savings account is gone. I'm worried. I've had a lull in sales, and then lack can kind of set in. But that's the time where gratitude is the most important. That gratitude state of mind saying it's already done. I've got what I need. I'm okay. And just really executing, though. It's like we don't pray and not do nothing and go to sleep. We pray and execute like no tomorrow. And those were 2 things that really stuck out to me.
I come from a place where faith is the evidence of things unseen. Right? Faith is the belief and the evidence of things unseen. So people talk faith, but very few walk faith. Right? It's easily said and it's cliche, right? It's cliche. It's like the most famous lexicon. It's trending right now. Faith is trending right now. It's viral. However, is it true? Because to take that walk off your job, that's a faith move. That's a faith move. and contact a professional because it might not be the best move, right? Contact a professional because it might not be the best move, but it's a faith move. Making a huge investment is a faith move. The bigger the investment, the bigger your faith. The bigger your investment, the bigger your faith. What kind of investments do you have? So watch this. This is one thing that I help clients do all the time. I'll say, show me your bank account, and I'll tell them, because a lot of times we have a gap in understanding ourselves. We say one thing, but our mindset and our money follows our mindset, and it does a different thing. So we'll say we value family, but very little is invested there. We'll say we value our marriage, but very little is invested there. Very little is invested there. And there's levels to investments. There's levels to investment. So I just want to take you on a trip real quick. When you talked about manifestation and materialization, these are two different things. And a lot of times you'll say, okay, I'm bound to the material, so I got to spend time. I got to spend time now. And what that gives you is it gives you the enjoyment of the moment. It gives you the enjoyment of the moment and a sense of accomplishment. However, there's a longer term play at hand. If you're trying to set things up to have a smooth ride for the next 15 years, then it might not be the best investment to make to spend all of the time right now in one place. Not earning. A better investment is a higher investment in things that are future tense. A bigger investment. Listen, if COVID didn't show us anything, safety is far and in between. Safety is like beauty. It's in the eye of the beholder. And those of us who have been around a little bit longer, we know the best investment is immediate, massive action in something huge. Not some trickle down hope investment in the long, you understand? Like, we're looking for something to return consistently so we can do it again and 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 do it again until we've got something huge that we can say, okay, this is safety net. Like, this is safety. This is ground rock. This is bedrock. This is sediment. This is foundation. We're not talking about $1,000 investment. Now we're talking about $100,000 investment. And in order to do that, it might, brother, it might take years and years to accumulate the amount of money that you need to make a huge investment that's legacy changing. I know for me, I'm still in college. I'll just say, like, for me, I'm still in college, right? People say, I haven't written the book yet, Sean. Okay, well, in the time that it took you not to write the book, we wrote 3. In the time that it took you not to write the book, we wrote 3. And we have another one coming out at the end of this month. And people say, well, I don't have the time to write a book. Okay, I did this full-time job, full-time enrollment, full-time college, full-time father, full-time husband. If you don't have the time, you likely never will. When will they give you the time? No one is going to give you the time, just like no one's going to give you the opportunity and no one's going to give you the money. You have to get that. You have to go up. You have to go forth. What do they say? Conquer, fortify, and domesticate. You have to fight for it. And that's the faith piece, right? That's the faith piece, and that's the work piece. Everybody wants the results. Everybody wants to fast forward the process. But you can't fast forward excellence. You can't fast forward discipline. These are some things that are non-negotiable. These are the intangibles that you just must have. These are the things that are left outside of the business books.
Right.
You understand? They'll give you an MBA, but they're not going to teach you resilience. They're not going to teach you fortitude. They're not going to teach you mindset when things go bad. How do you stay in it? How do you stay invested? How do you not pull your investments out? Because a lot of people pull their investments out, but they give away their future when they do that. So one thing that you said, Bobby, that made me think of something was about the fast life and the fast, enjoyment of the moment and the indiscretionate spending. But indiscretionate spending and indiscretionate investment is also selling yourself into long-term slavery.
Wow.
Right? So you can save what you have now so that you can make a bigger investment and buy your future. and buy your freedom in your future with the long-term investments in the long-term sight, or you can do what I saw taking place every year, which was the same people around the same water cooler going to the same watering hole. They called it a vacation for 2 weeks around the same place every year with the same group of people, come back with the same stories. And the only thing that was happening was these people were getting older and older while the price of tea in China was going up and up.
Yeah. You know, one thing that I wrote down as I was listening to you speak was creativity versus certainty. And what I've noticed within myself and from serving various clients on their journey as well in the capacity that I serve is that we all have this dichotomy: creativity versus certainty. So we all have instincts, survival instincts, and that's on the creativity side of the house. And then we all desire the management of expectations. Like, if you want to see an unhappy human, allow their expectations to either be under either under expectation or at expectation. Most humans want to above and exceed expectation. Like, that's what we like. So if it's under that, then we feel very upset and we're not happy. And that's kind of where uncertainty creates. It creates that feeling of, I don't know what to expect, so I can't manage and fortify my emotional state. So when I experience it in the present, I don't know how I'm going to react to it because they haven't disciplined themselves to react. Well, what Steve calls proactive, and that's from the 7 habits of highly effective people. Like, proactive people take a ownership of their own self-awareness and reaction to things. They respond. But to get back to this creativity versus certainty piece, I think it's very interesting that if you put an individual in a situation where death is imminent, they're not usually going to roll over. There's this thing called fight or flight, and it kicks in. And when it kicks in, they fight normally. And I'm speaking from the military experience that I have. I've been to combat zones on multiple occasions. I served over 12 years in the United States Marine Corps. And what I've seen is that when we get put in situations, any human being that I've worked with, there's fight or flight, but most of them fight. I very rarely see people just roll over. You know, so what I have found is very interesting about business, at least, is that sometimes we can be afraid of our own ingenuity and creativity. That's really what I wanted to go with that. And I took the long way because I wanted us to see how many like boundaries and limitations we set for ourselves along the way. Like, at the end of the day, if someone took your house, kicked you out on the streets, told you make a way, you're gonna make a way. Like, you're not gonna just find a bridge to sit under. That's not how we operate as human beings. We make things happen, and that's our natural nature. And I think that we've been so pacified, by our economy and our social constructs that we have lost our nature. And in that, we just believe incorrectly. And this is my true belief. But that's the piece that I want to share. And I'll tie it up with this just to make it more actionable. If you are basing your decisions based off of your inability to control things outside of your control, you may be underestimating your own creativity. Now, put it like that. I'll say that one more time. If you're basing future decisions on things outside of your control, like, I'm not going to go into business because I can't control the economy, because I can't control who's going to buy from me, because I can't control the price of gas, because I can't control these things. If that's what you're basing your decisions off of, then that is a mindset and approach that relinquishes ownership of things that you can control, such as your own creativity, your own effort, and your own aggressive approach to success.
Wow. Listen, guys, I don't know what you heard, right? I don't know what you heard, but what I heard is absolutely transformational. You know, I heard comfortability, stability, and no sustainability. Right? I heard comfortability, stability, seeming stable. It feels okay. Like there's milk and there's eggs and there's whatever else in the fridge, right? But is it sustainable? Meaning, is it guaranteed? And there's so many people right now proving that it's not. Like the unemployment piece is vast and huge at all times. Always has been. However, there's another reality. There's salt water and then there's fresh water, right? So a lot of people are in the salt water thinking that that's the only reality there is. But there is such a thing as fresh water. Like there is such a thing as waking up and designing your day. There is such a thing as designing your day before nighttime and then living it out the next day. There is such a thing as these things. These are realities. These are constructs that really exist. And I can, it's like living inside of the fishbowl and not understanding that there's a whole world out there. Entrepreneurship, business ownership, employee mentality. There's so many different realities out here that I like to, kind of be a rude awakener sometimes and just wake people up and shake them up real quick and make them jump out of the fishbowl and realize, hold on, I can breathe. Hold on, like I can really breathe and grow feet. Like I can really find my footing out here and do the things that need to be done and create my own economy. So if you haven't written anything down to this point, I don't know how that's possible, but if you haven't written anything else down, write this down, guys. Psychology equals economy. Psychology equals economy. Literally, your thinking will lead to your living. Your thinking will lead to your living. And I like what Bobby said about the 10K and the 100K and the million piece, because all it is zeros. All it is adding zeros. And I can remember like it was yesterday when my income was like capped at $40,000 a year and then $46K a year and then $52,000 a year. And I can remember feeling like, wow, this is great. And then I can remember, going to a space where I did 10K a month and in my own business. And that was like the creme de la creme. And then I can remember when 10K wasn't enough in a week based on the level of investment and where I was trying to go. So I want you to think, where are you trying to go? Where are you really trying to go in your life? Because we've only got one of them, and how far are we utilizing it? Where are we really trying to go, and what really matters? Like what really matters when it comes to your value set, your mindset, and your future set. Chances are, if you're watching this right now, there's some gaps. You want to go some places, you want to do some things, and right now you're just not able to. And there's people around you that are doing the things that you would like to do. And you don't understand why, and you don't understand how. But if you have what we call the 3 E's, the education, the experience, and the expertise, then you are the kind of people that we show how to unlock your potential. Unlock your potential and realize your inherent power. Because I guarantee you guys, you have the power. Always have, always will. That's what I didn't understand. I was somewhere making 40, 50, maybe $1,000 a week, $52,000 a year. And the people in the C-suite was making $500,000 off of my presence. So they made 500, or they made 448 or 38, and I made the 52. And then when it clicked for me and I said, hold on, there's something not right here. And I subtracted myself from that system and I brought my skill set, the same skill set that they were leveraging. When I brought that skill set to the market, directly to the market, I was able to pull the 500, the 600K. So whatever your salary is right now, You can add a zero to it just by separating yourself from that system and taking it direct to consumer. They call it DTC, direct to consumer. Taking your value direct to consumer as opposed to allowing it to flow through the middleman. And that middleman is only based on fear because you don't know how to take it directly to consumer, because if you did, then everybody would. And like Bobby said, we kind of get placated. We kind of get placated and we kind of get, how do you say, satisfied, complacent with small structures of significance like vacations, like debt, like cars and homes that we can't really pay for. So we get them on debt and we sell a portion or a fraction of what we earn to debt. So these are multiple different levels of servitude. I won't use the word slavery, but these are multiple levels of servitude and sacrifice of our future. Not our past, not our present, but our future. Think of a 30-year mortgage. And I see so many people celebrating these things like, yay, closed on a house today. Yes, phenomenal, big keys. And it's like, is that big key the key to the house or the jail cell that you're going to be in for the next 30 years?
Man.
And you're betting on an economy that's a slippery slope. I'm going to go to a break right now. I just want you to think about what I just said, guys. If you want to know more about how you can grow your business and get yourself out of that situation and free yourself, that's what that link at the bottom is for. Let's grow. I said Sean Rye East. I'm proud. That's Sean Rye East. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and you know, game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes. I don't talk theory. I don't talk hyperbole. I don't talk opinion. Nothing I talk is anything but evidence-based.
During the G Circle retreat in Atlanta, I had the pleasure and the honor of listening to Mr. Sean Rais. He will not only impact your organization, but he will elevate your team to another level.
When you change you, when you put you into the equation, the whole system is different. I guarantee you, you got the right thing. You are the right person. If you can present yourself in the best way possible, there's no negotiation.
His energy is infectious, and I have so many takeaways from the presentation that I can't wait to get started and implement them today to see the result.
Bobby.
Yes, sir.
Takeaways, man. Takeaways. We're about to wrap it up, guys. We've been with you for almost an hour now. I just want you to think about your opportunities, decisions, and consequences of those decisions.
Yeah. The big thing that I wrote down was psychology equals economy. That was huge. Your thinking, your thinking leads to your living. And it makes me think of a very famous allegory. and it's called The Allegory of the Cave by Plato. And a lot of people are familiar with this one, but some people might not be. So in this allegory of the cave, and an allegory just means like a mystery, but it's like something that you have to figure out, like a puzzle. So in the allegory of the cave, pretty much there were two sets of people. One set of people had been put into this cave at birth, so to speak, or they'd just been there for a very long time. And there was another individual that was outside, a set of people outside of the cave. And the set of people inside of the cave had a wall that they were facing, that they had been chained to. And behind the wall was another wall and a light. So when the people walked behind them, because imagine they're facing a wall and they're shackled to the wall and they're looking at it, but there's another wall behind them and there are people that walk past this wall. Now, because there's a light back there, these individuals that are chained to the wall see shadows. And because human beings, being the imaginative people that we are, we come up with things and we come up with ways to cope with our situation. So they began to pray to these shadows. They began to worship these shadows. They began to rationalize these shadows with reality. But the truth was, those shadows were just people, mortal people walking past, and the light was casting a shadow. But because of their psychology, because of where they were chained and how they were thinking, they worshiped a wall of walking shadows. And then, this is the kicker. There was a group of people on the outside that believed what was happening to these people on the inside of the cave was just unjust, not right, inhumane. So they, for lack of better terms, put together a campaign to go in and set these people free. So they go in and they say, hey, you are shackled to a wall. There's a whole world outside of this cave, and these shadows are your oppressors walking past with your rations. Come on, let's go. We can set you free. They said, how dare you bring blasphemy amongst our gods? They have kept us. They have fed us. And if you don't leave, we will use the very chains on our hands to make sure you never come in here again. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Plato's allegory of the cave. And what he was simply saying was that when you're on the inside of something and the construct is very well designed, it is very easy to become engulfed by the situation to the point that you believe it's reality, no matter how many other realities are around you. And if someone tries to bring you into a different reality, you will be more hostile to them than you are toward your own oppressor. A great allegory.
One thought that comes to my mind is Stockholm Syndrome. Stockholm Syndrome. And I get it. Like, I understand it. I understand it completely because it's normalcy. It's certainty. It's like the devil we know as opposed to the devil we don't know. So it's like, okay, I only make this amount of money, but at least I make this amount of money. What's on the outside of the cave is unknown. You're telling me I can make $10,000 a week or $10,000 a day, but you're also telling me that I might not make anything. Right? And that's where the faith comes in. The faith conundrum comes in. Because you have to believe in yourself and you have to believe in something greater than you. Like your idea, your vision, your legacy. This is why I say that it's all about who you love, not about really what you do. And that's why I say brand you and not what you do, and make your driving force the value that you hold for other people. There has to be something strong enough to compel you to break your own chain and make a dash for it. And if not, then there must be a gap somewhere. But that was what I did when I jumped in school. When I jumped into college, that's what it was. It was faith, and it was like burning heat, desire, intense passion. Like, I can't stay here because I know where this goes. I saw my mother, my father, I saw everybody that tried to follow that model find themselves conflicted, and afflicted with pain, suffering, despair, not being able to afford their situations when their situations befell them. And then I remember the stories of entrepreneurs whose parents got sick and who had the time, the money, and the freedom to spend with them and invest with them. The children were raised differently. They saw different things. They saw different examples, so they were able to make different choices. And I said to myself, I might not have had the example, but I don't have the possibility or the excuse not to become the example. So one of the things that I say in my first book, The 7 Prerequisites to Success, is that we don't get to choose who our parents were. And we don't get to choose what our circumstances are. But we get to choose who our children's parents will be. And we get to choose the situations and the circumstances that we accept. And for me, that's a conviction. For me, that's a conviction not to stand by and idly allow the responsibility of self-development, business development, and progression to pass on to the next generation. That's my job. That's my job. And if you're listening to this, there's a reason. It's your job too.
I have nothing that I think could follow that, because it's one of those things where it's like, shut the front door. Either you're going to take responsibility or you're not. It's one of those kind of things that I guess I can add this piece then, because I've learned over the years that anything that you care about or want to do exceptionally well, you should do with a coach. So because I care about my marriage and I care about my wife and my development, I have a marriage coach, someone that helps out. And one of the things that I learned was that responsibility is a gift. It's a gift. But sometimes and oftentimes we can run away from that gift, because that gift also comes with a price, like there's a lot of things that come with responsibility, and we don't always care for those things. But one thing that I will say is this: the more responsibility you take, the more control and or influence you have. And that's just been my interpretation. Like, the more responsibility you're willing to take, the more actions you can take that are within your sphere of influence. But when you have no accountability or you take no ownership over it, you have no right to influence it. But the moment you take ownership over it, you have every right to influence it. And I think that that's something that we can all, myself included, just lean a little bit more into. What can I take ownership of that does not have an owner? Like, there's a lot of trauma out there that people don't want to own. There's a lot of mistakes that people don't want to own. There's a lot of just lies and deceit that nobody wants to take ownership for. Like, it happened and people just walk past it. Take some ownership, take some ownership, take some ownership. And before you know it, you've taken so much ownership and you'll have so much influence over things that people seemingly left by the wayside, that you'll find yourself a lot like Gandhi. I believe it was Gandhi. Yeah, Gandhi, who was able to influence like millions of people in India, and was one of the leading forces in the British succumbing and kind of taking their foot off of the neck of the Indian people. And he did it without a military force. He did it by taking ownership of things that everybody else left to the wayside.
The only thing I will say is this, guys: we're witnessing future right now. We're witnessing the future right now, and we're witnessing legacy, and you will be remembered or forgotten based on the actions that you take in this very moment. It's a lot of responsibility, but to he whom much is given, much is required. And that's why the new website is dropping the end of this month on Halloween, October 31st, and so is the anthology. So is the new book, How to Create, How to Build a profitable business and brand from scratch. For those of you who don't know how and would like to know how to get out of your situation, to put a zero behind your number, to create different circumstances for yourself and for your family, for your legacy and for your loved ones. There's going to be so many pathways and so many opportunities within this website as well as within the book that I just felt compelled, and I probably will feel compelled to go live multiple times throughout the week just to remind you and kind of just shake you up and wake you up and turn the light on in the front so you can see that the shadows against the wall are not real. They are a figment of your imagination. And there's nothing between, how do they say? And this comes from where I grew up as well. There's nothing between us but air and opportunity. Let's grow. Nothing between us but air and opportunity.